are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
She was told that she couldn't play with the boys. She was told that they were too big, too rough, too strong. She was told to give up her dreams and move on. She was told to just be pretty, be quiet, be a lady. She was told that women had to stay on their side of the court, stay in your lane. Playing and competing with men was insane. She was told that men and women would never be equal. Dreaming like that would only be linked to your mind, to your soul. She never listened. She knew that their thinking was old. She is magic. She is the definition of spirit. She is what champions are made of. She is now.
Greetings and welcome to Access Wealth Nation with Dr. Jana B. Woodhouse, giving you that checkup from the neck up, understanding how money really works and dealing in the financial service arena. It is so necessary for us to understand the basics. So as you know, this is a month that is dedicated to women, should be all year long. That we dedicate to women, the women in our lives. And so to honor National Women's Month, I had to have some women on to the show, and brilliant women. We've had the ability to share with many the How Money Works for Women's book that was written by two of my associates, Sharon Lecter and Kim Schooler, and traveling all over the world, over the country, trying to just get women to understand how important it is to understand how money works. As a matter of fact, the book is called How Money Works for Women, Take Control or Lose It. Of course, also we have the How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker book. Two other associates of mine, Tom Matthews and Steve Seabolt, along with Andy Horner, have allowed that book to go. And it's really over 700,000 books have been in print. And the power behind it is that it's a fun book. It's an easy reading. So if you want the book, what we always say is that all you have to do is send me an email with your address, and we will send you a book, free 99. And the email is Anaj Enterprises Inc., ANAJ Enterprises Inc. @gmail.com. So if you'd like a book, we'll be glad to send it to you. The only thing that I ask for is that you read the book. Don't miss out and don't let it collect dust. If you're not going to read it, once you get it, pass it on. It's important that we understand our mission. This is truly a mission for me, is to bring financial literacy, of course, to the urban community, but this country, we would love to see about 100,000 individuals who really understand and embody. And of course, it's always important for women, because they say, it's an old African adage that says, if you educate a man, you've educated a person. If you educate a woman, you have educated a village. I know that sounds sexist, but it's true because our first educators happen to be usually women, our mothers or our grandmothers. Also, for those, I have the door open, and some of you have really taken advantage of this, of getting a free financial analysis and overview, a discover of where you are and where you'd like to be. And all you have to do is call our office at 646-375-2121. Now, we're being broadcast through the Soul City Network and also on WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. And so today we've got a lot going on, but this is really exciting for me. You ever have a situation where you meet a person and they approach you and you're not really sure what's happening and what's going to happen, but somehow your world starts to change, and it's a reason because God has sent this angel into your life. And I've had that experience. But before I introduce her, I think it's best for her to speak the words of how she feels and the passion she has about really abundance. So could we play the video?
That the more information there is on a topic, the more confusing it is to find the right answer. Information overload, complicated by hidden agendas, is often the reason most people never move forward on the abundance scale. If there really was one solution, everyone would do it, and everyone would be financially abundant. It may take some time to create your foundation for financial abundance, but it's like building a muscle. With practice, abundant choices will become much more intuitive. Consider financial abundance as a sliding scale rather than a simple on-off switch. Much internet chatter focuses on scarcity versus abundance. It's not that simple. We will focus on moving from avoidance and conditional comfort towards abundance. Cultivating abundance takes practice, and naturally, people slip back into old patterns. So we will share ways to keep you focused on your vision. More importantly, we will discuss how the measure of success must be tied to personal values. Without that foundation, we can't know if we are living in abundance.
That's her vision of abundance. And of course, just to give you a little idea of this person who's near and dear to me, and she's a financial professional. That's one of the hats that she wears. I'm going to say one thing she is she opened my eyes to Disney on another level. So she's got some real, she's fun. She's really fun. Sometimes in your life, you need someone who is just that, can bring the fun. But she brings the fun, but she also has that heartfelt mission, like I do, is to bring financial literacy and understanding to the communities. And she does that. One of her passions, though, that she shared with me through these years, I met her 8 years ago. And like I said, we tied now, and one of the things that I will say about her, she has a vision and she sticks with it, but she has a company that's called Life Worth Living. Do you hear that? Life Worth Living. I think that's so powerful because that's what we need, is a life worth living. And she has been 20 years in the financial service industry. She's been mentioned, and recognized in Forbes magazine. Recently, what you just heard was an excerpt of her contribution to a compilation of women who shared their thoughts on the anatomy of abundance. So, to introduce to some and to reintroduce to others, I'd like to bring on Lenka Holman.
Hello.
Hi there. How are we today?
We are doing great today. Today is a good day.
This is a good day, definitely. And that's what we're going to talk about. We've got a lot to talk about this book. I thought it was really a wonderful idea that it was put together with different thoughts of women. And of course, we were together at a time when you were writing it, your portion. And that was quite interesting. It changed like a few times until we got what
Once
we
or twice,
really,
once or twice. Mm-hmm.
yeah, there it is. And it works. It works. So we're going to talk a little bit about this, but I wanted you to just also, who is Lenka Holman? Because I know what I just told people because that's who I know. But who is Lenka Holman
Well,
to
it
Lenka?
depends on they ask where and what time and what day of the week and that sort of thing. Because I don't think any of us is really just one person. And that's kind of what I try to pull into in the book and so forth, because I've been a financial professional. My day job is I sit and just straight up helping families and business owners. I love working with the business owners because they're the ones who are out there giving us jobs, and so many of them are so passionate about creating something bigger. And that's it right there. I really connect with the people who are looking to create something bigger. You, Jana, are one of those people
That's
because you and I have really focused on there's so much more. But that being said, I have this phrase on my wall is that my life is like a symphony. I have a crescendo of activity followed by the restoration of a melody of restoration. And that's where the fun part comes in. And that's why I like to really focus with my clients and so forth. Where are we at now? What's next? Because if we're not changing and moving and growing, we're stagnant.
that's so true. In addition to it, I know you help your clients, but also you help your peers, and I think that's really I'm embracing that because it's like it's been a me. Gotta go. I love my clients and I'm taking care of my clients, but also to look around and see that you can help associates that not necessarily do you get any compensation for it, but it's just the fact that you want to help. And in helping them, you help yourself too. So
Well, isn't it a good practice to put out into the world what you want to see in the world?
that's true. It's just a matter of fact. If you want to make a difference, make a difference. So instead of waiting for someone else to do so, oh, I was remiss. I've got to talk about this before we go further. We have been in our different respective companies been able to deal with the How Money Works for Women. And this month there have been women who have taken on the characters that are in the book. And so I just wanted to announce that on Monday, the 18th at 8 at 8, no, that's the wrong time. It's 8 o'clock. It's okay, they'll straighten it out. It's 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Monday. I have the honor to portray my favorite character, which is Fatima, and there'll be a group of women who will be talking about the characters in the book. And so, not only get the book, read the book, but come and meet some of the characters in the book, because I just forgot that. So, and not to take from it, but this book that you have, that you are a part of, we're all women, which I thought was awesome. Was that the original idea of Miss Wisdom?
Yeah, Patrina has been a good friend of mine for I've known her actually longer than I've known you, Jana. And she is really focused on the anatomy of abundance as a framework. The one thing that is pretty consistent is that when you talk about scarcity or abundance or those things, you get somebody who has a narrow view, maybe in abundance in relationships, or they are really clinical, and this is how you put together a spreadsheet, or this is how you do whatever. or let's just sit and meditate and it'll all come to us. And what Patrina has done is she took people who are experts in the different areas, and she does the higher laws of what it means to be in different areas. And then what I prefer to call not the lower laws, the foundational laws. It's the structure. And this is how we do this. And I actually am speaking to the higher laws of financial abundance and how to get your act together.
Well, the title of your section is Financial Abundance for the Non-Mathematician.
You know any of those? Do you know any of those?
I know a few, because as soon as you talk to them, the first thing is, I don't do anything with math.
Mm-hmm.
Or you meet people like me who say, do I have to read the book? Can I just do the numbers? You know. So there's two types of people in this world, and then you got the middle of the road. But that title is important. And I wanted you to tell us a little, as I've gone through it and got a chance to embody. Okay, no, what I did was I externalized it. Now I got to internalize it, because it's a lot in here. And I would say to anybody, they can get the book on Amazon and wherever else you buy your books, but I get the book.
Barnes & Noble, Amazon. We were number one in multiple categories, international as well. So it's out there.
It's out there, definitely. So there's one aspect which I wanted you to start to talk about, if you don't mind, is the abundance sliding scale. Just a little bit. Could you give us a little peek of what's that really about? Because you truly have a way with words and also acronyms. So therefore,
acronyms, yeah.
Yeah.
I lived in acronyms. So I kind of got trained in that.
So tell us a little bit about that abundance sliding scale.
So one of the things that I've noticed is people are not binary in that they are on or off. Okay. They are sometimes a little bit in between. Sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're sad. Sometimes you're energetic, sometimes you just want to sleep. Sometimes you feel abundant and everything is coming my way. I just can't do no wrong. And then other times you're like, really? I stubbed my toe again. Everything is going wrong. I just can't hold on to money. And it moves. But I've been doing this for 20 years, talking 20 plus years now.
Yeah.
And I've been talking to people, and I would always see, and one of the things that I love doing is saying, okay, I'm seeing this happen again and again. Why is it? What's the common thread between Susie and Joe and Sam? What's going on? They're having the same problems. Why are we stumbling? And so what I try to do is I try to just say, okay, what's really going on? And it's not scarcity versus abundance, because so many times I told you about the internet chatter, and people just go ahead and say, oh, well, I read this book on abundance, now I'm fixed. Not true. So what I found is that somebody will maybe be in extreme scarcity where they're freaking terrified about absolutely everything. They think that as soon as they're going to get $1, they're going to have their car break down or something. And what I found is they read a book and they think, okay, now I'm going to sit and meditate and I'm abundant. That's not what happens. So there's a scale, and what I've identified is between scarcity and abundance, there are 3 other areas. And those 3 other areas that I've noticed that are very prominent is avoidance.
Oh, yes.
Now, in the book, I tell a really detailed story, true stories, and the names have been changed to protect the guilty, if you understand. But it is avoidance of, well, you know what? I'm going to buy that extra pair of nice shoes and I'll figure it out. It's just going on the credit card. It'll be all right. You know what? Well, I needed a new car, so I'm going to get the nicest Tesla, top of the line, and I'll just bump up my hours at work a little bit more. or something. And I'm not telling you anything. Those of you who are out there haven't seen. You've seen these people. It's just a little bit of this. I'm not really going to pay attention to it because it'll work itself out. And then in the other end, when it's getting towards abundance, there was something else that I saw, which other people, and I'll say the traditional financial services thinks, oh, they are the perfect client. They are absolutely have no problems with money. And these are the ones who I see, they are absolutely okay because they keep moving forward, keep moving forward, and they keep saving and they keep doing this, and I'll be okay just as long as I don't lose my job.
And
I'll
then
be okay. Everything's fine. I'm paying all of my bills. I don't have a lot of debt. Everything's going to be okay as long as nobody gets sick, as long as my parents don't have to move in with me, as long as my kid gets the college scholarship. And there's so many little caveats. So they really are still living on the edge, but they're moving forward in one way or another. And they are in that realm. Okay. And that's, I call conditional comfort. I'm okay.
Okay.
I'm fine. I'm living my life. I don't understand what's wrong. I'm putting away money. Just because I have a 401k doesn't mean that I'm going to live comfortably at retirement. I'm just saying. And those are the individuals that are on that end. That being said, there is another range, and I see this a lot in young people. I am going to say that the much maligned millennials, we're going to call them the triple M's, they are really a lot better off financially than most of the others that have been of that age, because now the millennials are getting down into 30-ish, and they have actually done quite a bit better because they saw their parents, my generation, totally mess things up. But they're kind of neutral. They feel like, hey, my parents worked really hard. They really did everything right. They did the job at the company that was supposed to take care of them and give them a pension. That didn't work out. And now, why not live for today? So I'm going to go have my avocado toast and an extra latte, and it'll be good. So it's all along the scale, and you can slide back and forth. Okay, I'm going to get really focused. I'm going to really be in abundance and really start saving for the right things so that I don't have to worry about it. And this is not about a dollar amount. Let me be really, really clear. And I do think that when I read my own book chapter, I wasn't as clear about this because it is not about how much you make.
No, you got that point over. Because I think what even more so, and I'm going to throw out a little tidbit, what they say, throw my line out. The story of the three sisters tells it all, that it's not just about the almighty dollar. It's lifestyle, it's mindset. And I think throughout the book, that's the giving point is that it's not just about abundance. What is the abundance? But the abundance is on so many different levels, and it all has to do with your consciousness. And I think that that's something that goes throughout the book. But of course, in your chapter, you hit home hard, and tell it like it is. And now it's even more deeper when you say that to protect those that have should not be known, number one, but to protect them, their identity. But that story resonates. And as long as I've been in this industry, as you know, I've been a long time. It's technically, with my add the tax business to it, it's over 40 years. I just look good.
You really do.
But the thing is that you hear it. You know people that are like this. You know families. So it's very relatable, and what you're teaching is not, like you said, numbers, be good, do this, you know. No, it's like be human. Would I dare to say that that's what it is that, be human. There's going to be times you're going to really mess up.
Yeah.
There's going to be times when you really are going to be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes there's nothing happening, like I call it my stop the world, I want to get off. And it won't move. So that's what I'm feeling from it, and I think that everyone should read, of course, the entire book, but I know I'm going to stick my foot here is that you got to at least go to the chapter. As a matter of fact, I should have memorized the page. 203, that's a 5. Mr. Lloyd Strayhorn would be very proud of me. Number 5, destiny. So you can go. So tell us more. There's more to it. I know the sliding scale, but there's also not only the fact that you use the acronym of vegan, which I was like, okay, void of all other things, the fact that I am. And so I was like, oh, so this is interesting. So would you like to tell us, or would you tell us a little bit about this vegan cycle?
Okay. So first disclaimer, I love steak. Okay. I love steak. Okay. So I am not a vegan in that respect. Okay.
Well, that somebody told me, they said the cow eats grass. So you are, what you're doing is just taking care of the grass in a different way.
Okay. All right. I'd like to take a side trip before we get to the vegan cycle.
Okay.
And I'd like to talk about shame in society. And it feels like finances are the only way or the only area in our lives that it is okay to shame somebody or kind of look, that's how you are. Okay. You're wearing those shoes. Okay. And it's no longer okay to shame somebody for sexual orientation, for
their bodies,
for their body image, all of these other areas. It's no longer, yeah, okay, it still happens, but it's no longer okay.
No, someone gets called to the count for that.
Yes,
but
exactly.
When it comes down to finances and money and how people spend, it's like I just dealt with a client and it really did bother me, but I had to sort of put the mask on because her family made sure that she was taken care of. And they passed. She lost like 5 relatives in 1 year. And every one of them left something to her. And I'm watching her now in her adult stage. She and Uber Eats, she should have stock in it. I mean, in 1 month, it's just like immense. And I'm like, why? And so instead of saying, stop that, I had to say, what else would you like to do? You like to cook. So since you like to cook, maybe you should think about cooking sometimes, and lessening this bill that you're spending like $300-400 a month on food, And I know things make you feel better because we have food that comfort. That's why they call it comfort food.
Mm-hmm. Mac and cheese. Thank you very much.
Potato salad. We still got that bet going.
I know. I know.
But in addition to it is like you said, truly, we shame people for not being able to pay their bills. You shame people when they go into bankruptcy. Yeah, when someone comes and asks, and my philosophy, if someone comes and asks me for some help, either I'm going to help them or I'm not. And I'm not going to look for it back. It's just, let it go. I did it. It's done. But some come back and then they tell the whole world that they did this when their house is not necessarily always in order.
In order. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
so
And
you
no,
wanted to tell us a little bit more about that mindset, that shaming.
because it's all external. And when I talk about my brand and my absolute focus and invest your time, talent, and treasure in a life worth living, and I always emphasize the worth, because existence is shallow. It's a shell. If you're just on this earth and you are not experiencing joy,
Yes.
contributing to others, following your true passion, then you get to the end of your life and you're like, I wish I had. I wish I had. And that's what I really would love to see people really focus on earlier. Okay. Much like you, I've had individuals come in front of me who have had challenges and not connected their values. But I've also had challenges, and this is a story I did not put in the book, but
Okay.
I'll share
Yes,
today.
we'd like some juice.
Yes. Values. I've actually had individuals come to me who, while on paper, where they live, very modest, very working class neighborhood, and her values, this lady teacher, her values were to support her children and her grandchildren. Her daughter had some issues, and so she was really being the one to support, and both emotionally and financially, her grandchildren. I'm sure none of us out there have ever seen that. That's very unusual. Okay. But let me give you a hint and a behind the scenes tour of what a traditional financial services person did to her. And I say that very specifically. He looked at her finances and he kept saying, you have to save more. You're going to be, he literally said, you don't want to become a bag lady. You really want to make sure you're okay because you don't have a husband to take care of you. Yes, these were the
How
words.
dare.
He came out, and this, she is the sweetest, kindest, caringest person you could ever hope to meet. And she started just feeling worse and worse and worse about herself. And she told him one time that she said, I need to put a pause on my retirement for a little bit, and I need to take a little bit out of this emergency fund because my grandson wants to go to a sports camp. And that was the last straw for her, because he said, hey, it's your life. But if you don't have enough, don't say I didn't tell you.
Oh my. Well, one thing that you said, just to just a little interject, you did say he.
I wasn't going to go there.
Okay, but I'm going to go there because I can, and we going to go there because you said he. And I remember someone asking me, what's the relevance of women being in the financial service industry? And that is the perfect example. He may not realize what it is to be able to help your grandson go to a camp. He may not, but she does. And that's priceless. It has nothing to do, like you said before, it was about money. It's not about the money, it's
Right.
the wealth. It's the ability to do things for your family. I mean, realistically, what happens when we die? You get, okay, you left some money. Okay, that was nice. But the thing that people remember is how you made them feel.
Right.
And if and like I said, I will say it again, he did not understand that, and that's why we need so many more women in this industry that is still so sparse when it comes to women. But we do understand, just like what you now, she got a chance to talk with you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And when I took a look, because she had me to review her entire portfolio. It was at this time that she had me review her entire portfolio. And I took a look at it, and on paper, I said, he's done a great job. I wouldn't have done hardly anything different, maybe little tweaks, but that's just, no, that's just a different salad dressing in the buffet. No, 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 no. And I said, you know, I'm not going to bash this guy. Well, now I bash him, but back then I wouldn't. And so she told me the story, and I'm like, okay, yeah, you do need somebody who understands. But fast forward, when I took a look at it, I said, you're not going to have a problem with the pension that you have put together through the school system, with how much you have already saved, with the fact that your house is paid off, with all of these other things. You are going to be okay. You don't have to worry. And so we did go ahead and do what she was needing. We made the moves. But fast forward, he was barely 20 years old. This grandson who wanted to go to camp, something was really important to him, become very seriously ill. And we thought he was going to die. And think about this. Part of what kept him going was his absolute athleticism, his focus, and so many of these things came from this career. And her value was, she knew this was his passion, and she was going to support him in his passion.
Wonderful.
And that is the first part of the vegan cycle. Okay. So if you can keep that story in mind, V stands for values. And people often don't know what their values are. Okay. Or they go to world peace. I'll take care of my family. You know, the things that they sound good if you're running for Miss America, but they're not deep. Okay. And when you really think about what are your values, it's more, my house is burning down. What am I going to grab? What am I really going to grab?
That is really, now there's some people who have a bag because they want to hold on to everything they can possibly hold. And I'll never forget the families that were with the storm with the Katrina.
Yeah.
And I watched them and I thought about it. They were at such peace. Even in our world, we were like, you done lost everything you possibly had. And then some, including family. But they had a peacefulness. They didn't have the junk, the gunk, the carrying with it. You know, so yeah, I can understand that, you know, that value system, you know, when people tell me, especially here in New York, I have to say it's almost an embarrassment to pass by the projects. And it's no problem. I'm a project kid too. I came out of the projects, but to look and see the cars, I saw a Maybach out in front and they weren't visiting because it kept being there, you know, and I'm like, okay, you got a Maybach, but you're getting subsidized housing. So see, there's the judgment part.
Yep, there it is. And it's part of our society. So I'm not saying we're bad people for judging. It's just we got to see, oh, there it is. Huh, maybe I should pay attention to this. And my value would be independence. My value, okay, another little story that's not in the book, if you're ready.
Okay. That's what we want, the little
tidbit. I know, you want the juice. I know.
Now, just make a statement to anybody. If anybody has a comment or question or something, you're welcome to ask it, but because we're getting little tidbits that's not in the book. Go ahead.
So my value is independence. My value is providing for my children, taking care of my children. And it's not that I'm not a helicopter mom or bulldozer mom or all of these other, no, I never was. Because when my kids were real little, I told them it's not my job to take care of you. It's my job to teach you how to take care of yourself.
Great.
You're like 5, 6, 7. It's like, no, I need to teach because I'm not going to be here forever. Okay. And they're pretty awesome daughters.
They
They are
are.
pretty awesome.
They are.
Yeah.
They
So-
really are. And that's a mirror image of you. You can see it.
But that's my value. And so here's the story that's not in the book. At one point, I was on WIC coupons. WIC is Women with Infant Children.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Whoa. Okay, I am in a very nice neighborhood, living a great life. I don't have, even during COVID, all of that extra subsidy stuff. I'm like, I'm good. I was ready for the unreadyable stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I just couldn't stay there. I remember sitting there waiting, because back when my kids were that little,
Mm-hmm.
you actually had coupons.
Oh,
You didn't swipe the debit card, okay? And I remember sitting there. This is not me. I cannot stay here. I will not be this. I brought these children into this world. They are not Uncle Sam's responsibility. They are mine. And so that is something that is in conflict, not in judgment, but it's in conflict with my values. So that's a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
Because I anticipate that's what you're feeling. It's judgment. It's not, okay, that's okay for you. It's just that's really in conflict with my values.
Understood.
So when you know those values, you can align what you're doing next. Independence is one of those things that I teach my children, or have taught them. What I've taught is done. They're going to learn the rest on their own. Okay. So once you know what your values are and align what that means and what it's going to mean, then the next stop in the vegan cycle is E for education. Okay. For a fool and his money are soon parted.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about just Google it. Okay. Because that's, you can go down a primrose path on that one. And so just go ahead and properly educate yourself so that you don't get taken. Doesn't mean you have to know every little detail. It just means that you need to know so you don't get taken.
Well, the thing is that, and this is something that we've gone through with Soul City, because we've been trying to put together a documentary of what people know about money. There used to be a little video that was with Ben Franklin going around asking people, what did they know, or how did they learn about money? Well, it's not so hard. It's real hard to get somebody to talk about that, because I don't want to look stupid. I don't want to talk about money. I don't know anything, that kind of stuff comes up. And so I think with this book, the How Money Works book was good, but the people don't even read the book sometimes. So we have a simpler version called Change Your Literacy, Change Your Life. Yeah. But I think people, in stealing a little thought of the Matrix, got your
red pill.
The red pill or the blue pill. I think I want to take the blue pill so I can forget about this. And hopefully at the end of all of this, I'll be okay.
That's called financial avoidance.
Got it. And that's that part of the cycle.
Sliding scale.
The scale, yeah. That avoidance. I don't want to deal with it. I have zillions of bills. That I tell my quick story that I found people were like that was when I met this young lady who had gotten a credit card when she was in high school, and she was like $20,000 in debt. And I was trying to figure out how that happened with one credit card. She said, I didn't know I had to pay it all back. Nobody ever told me I had to. They said I could use it for my books. And I did. I didn't know I had to pay it back. And I was like, wow, short of saying, are you crazy? But I said, I can understand that can be one of the things that could happen, because it was such a pressure for her to get the card. So she just thought that's what it was supposed to be. It's, the card, the miseducation.
Yep, exactly. So that leads me to the next part of the vegan cycle, guidance.
Mm.
Okay. So if you want to be good at anything, you get a coach. Okay.
Yeah.
The young people who are going to Paris for the Olympics in just a couple months, they got a coach because they want to be better. They want somebody. They want guidance.
Yes.
And that's what you do. You don't look for the one size fits all. You don't look for the one perfect answer, but guidance like, hey, and think of that guidance person as a sounding board. It's like, hey, I'm thinking about this, this, and this. What do I not know that I don't know?
But we don't want to show that we don't know something.
Well,
That's for
you
that
need to
ego
stop.
thing. That's why I like this book, is because it's
There's the
attacking
shame part.
the
Okay.
brain. Yes.
There's the shame part. I should know all of this. And I have heard that so many times, mostly from women. I didn't want to admit that I didn't know this because I should know this. Well, stop shoulding all over yourself. You, okay? Because it really just, it just gets you and it brings you down. Forget that. Check your ego at the door and say, I want to be better. And that's where you get guidance. And you might just be running this idea. I have one young person who's constantly coming back to me now. She's in great shape now. She's on the right path. Is she out of the clear? No. But she's on the right path. And I'm so proud of her. And every once in a while, she calls me and says, hey, I'm thinking about this, this, and this. Am I on track? And most of the time I say, you're good to go. Sometimes I say, have you thought about this part of it? She's like, you know what? I hadn't. And then we make a tweak and then she moves forwards.
Okay, that makes sense.
That action part is next. That's V, values, E, education, G, guidance, and then action. If you just think about it, if you just pray on it for the next 10 years, you're not actually moving forward. You've got to move forward and put plans into action. Okay.
And is that where a lot of people get stuck? Is in the action side? Because from my years, I think that's what, it's like, okay, I got to get up. And that's why I tell you, that's that phase of mine that says, stop world, getting off. I'll get back on in a little while. But
here's the thing. Here's the thing. One, usually the things that stop somebody from being in action are they skipped over the part of educating themselves to understand, okay, this is normal. This is okay. This is what I can expect. Or B, they got guidance from the wrong person and their gut is telling them don't move forward and they feel stuck. So if you have your values, education, and guidance, then it's not scary to actually go into action.
And you made a good point about the fact of the proper guidance, because I know for when I was coming up, I had the encyclopedia, I had the library, and that was it. These folks have the internet and what they're learning. Today I was listening to a group talking, and they had it all backwards. But, and then it ended up with the cryptocurrency thing. They got to talk about, and I'm sitting there going, do you have your 7 money milestones in order? Do you have? And I'm like, okay, this is a group that's going to believe what's on TV and what's on the internet before they'll believe what I say. So, everybody's not going to come. There was a picture on the Facebook. Someone put it on my Facebook page, and it was all these sheep, and they had little red hats, not siding, but they had little red hats, and they were just falling over the cliff. And I said, yeah, people are just at that stage. It sounds good, I'll do it.
But here's the thing. It's if they don't understand that there is no decent get rich quick scheme, it's called a scheme for a reason, then they are susceptible. And those individuals, I'll say, who are touting the next get rich quick, they are preying on the emotions, the fear, the scarcity, the judgment. You should already have 7 figures sitting in the bank account. What's wrong with you? Here, give me $5. I'll get you to $1 million in 3 weeks. What? And it's like, oh gosh, you just made me feel bad. So I will give you my money so you can fix me. No, you skipped the steps. You don't know your values. You haven't actually gotten educated. And I'm not saying read the whole encyclopedia, just this much. And then go into action in the right way.
Got it. And so there's one more letter, isn't it?
Yes, there is. Then you get to nurture your actual goals and vision. That's where a vision board comes in. That's where keeping things in front of you. It's like, for me, my jewelry is one of the ways that I keep my vision of what things that are important to me. Okay. My necklace. This is something that my husband made for me.
Oh, how wonderful.
And it's a Cinderella. Well, how do I move this? Cinderella steampunk carriage.
Yes, is that the pumpkin carriage?
It looks like the pumpkin carriage. You will never see another one because my husband made it. It is the only one in the world. And it keeps 2 things in front of me: the love of an amazing man and joy, having fun, fantasy.
Oh, yes. You know how to have fun.
I know how to have fun. My earrings. I shared those with you a little earlier.
Yes.
Is a Tiffany spoon handle that was given to me by my daughters. It means so much to me. Those are the things, and I keep those things around me. I've got a vision board, and when I keep those things around me, it keeps me grounded. And when I nurture what's really important, I don't have a problem passing over the next set of Jimmy Choo shoes or whatever. By the way, I don't like high heels because my feet hurt. Comfort, joy. That's not pointy toes that smush my toes.
I understand. I like my heels, but okay.
And that's your value. Okay. The best way I can say this is everybody thinks they should have a certain set of values, world peace and this and that, But think about it this way. Does everybody want the same vacation?
No.
Can I see myself using my vacation to climb the Mount Everest? Diving with sharks? Hard pass.
Hard pass.
Hard pass, not me. No. And yet my idea of a great vacation is something that will make other people go, whoa. No. It's okay. Know who you are and move towards that proper way.
That's good because that's the key is that vision, the desire, what do you really want? I went to a real estate conference and I spoke at it, and the women there were all striving for red bottoms. And I jokingly, which didn't go over well, but I jokingly said, well, you could get a can of paint. work it out, and pay less, but that's my image. And it's not what you drive or where you live, it's where you're happy, and I learned that the hard way, getting a stroke at age 25 and making that deal with God, let me out of this so that I can really make a difference. And I think that's where you and I really have come into an accord is that we want to make a difference. We want to say we were here, and we've touched some lives. I know you've touched lives. I've touched, it's a different value. And there's your statement. It's the values.
Right.
What do you really value?
And actually, just before we leave the values conversation, on my actual website, I believe it's on here somewhere, in lenkaholman.com. Thank you. there is an actual exercise how you can narrow down what your true values are, not
Oh,
what society tells you your values should be.
mm,
Oh, and it's interesting. There's several of them out there. I personally got oh gosh, now I'm gonna sadly forget the name of the book. The One Thing, and in there's a book, a set of cards that you could have purchased to help you find what your true values are, and it's
mm.
an exercise. And there's others out there. I love Marianne Williamson because she has a wonderful list of values that you can go, take a look at, and it's really narrowing down. It doesn't make anything good or bad or right or wrong.
This
What
is.
resonates with you, and what's going to make you really move forward. Because what I can say is the people who really are successful, and I use that word specific, successful in their finances, not rich, successful in their finances,
Hmm.
are the ones who know what they're saving for.
That's true. And more so, like you said, your values. What really, what is it that you strive for? What you would do if you didn't get a dime for it?
Yep.
What is it that's out there? It was just recently I can share is that I had a thought. I was watching, everybody's talking about Beyonce. Okay. So I'm not in Beyonce's pocket, not trying to get there unless she wants me to help her with her investments. Uh, but I thought about it and I said, I wonder what that lifestyle is really when you really have anything that you want, you can really get it. You can get it. But there goes the value point. What do you really want inside of you? And in paraphrasing her words, is that you're not going to take my soul. I'm going, I'm going to, I'm going to have fun. I'm going to live my life. And another statement to say, a life worth living.
Yeah.
Having that life that people look at, they don't know what you're really going through. And we don't know what someone's going through. You see wealth or you have riches, but that's not it. You see what happens there. A lot of people commit suicide because they're not happy. They're not satisfied because it's not in the stuff.
Yep.
I tell anyone Christmas time and the holidays that come up, ask someone the next year, what did they get?
Yeah.
But they probably don't remember that as well as they know who was around them. And that's so important. And I think that what you've done in this book, along with the rest of your co authors, is phenomenal. I have to say this publicly. Today's Lenka's birthday.
Yep, that's me.
There you go.
And I chose it to spend it with all of you.
Isn't that wonderful? We are so blessed. She gave us a gift. And that's the gift of her wisdom, along with her friend wisdom. But to give us this, and I really, truly, truly appreciate you coming on board, especially on your birthday, to share. And what people can do for you, I think, is to go out and buy the book. But more so than the book, get to that website and really listen and look and have a life worth living. Really. I love that when I first met you and you said that was, and then I got my little bottle opener that said it's very important to have. And so before we close out, can you tell me really where did that come from, the life worth living? And what in particular is that? What's that meaning to you? Because it came from our spiritual side, I'm sure. So what is that?
There are some people who I know in life, some who I love dearly, who are existing. They're existing on this earth. They live in fear. They live in doubt. And that fear and doubt and just constraint means they're not really living.
Mm.
They're not leaving anything behind. They're not connecting with human being. They're not in joy. And that's where that one came from, because, nobody's ever asked me that question. They just said it sounds good. And that's hard.
Mm-hmm. It's meaningful. It really is, because it digs beyond the physical. It is the metaphysical. And that's when I heard it first. I said, oh my goodness, yes, because I'm here for a mission. I believe every single person comes here with a mission. They just possibly could forget about it by the time they reach 18. But when they're little, they know they're here to do certain things. And we got to be about that. And when we are, we have a life worth living. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, live for the line, not the dot. I've heard it said several ways.
Yeah, that line. That I never forget the first time I heard that, and they said, it's the dash. It's the dash. And I was like, what the hell is the dash? He said, you start here, dash, you end here. I was like, oh yeah, that's true. But I don't want to think about that. Yes, you do. Because that's what means the most. It's what does someone really remember about you is so important. It's one of those things that so many people talk, and I say, love never dies, because people will remember you and you live on. But if no one remembered you, you got to come back here and do something about that. It's so important. So, Lenka, what's our last words of wisdom from you?
Go live a life worth living.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being on Access Wealth Nation. This is Lenka Holman, and she has given you some serious things to think about. Play it again, as y'all do. Play the show again and think about it, and then act. So thanks, everybody, for watching. This is Access Wealth Nation with Dr. Jana B. Woodhouse. And again, every Thursday at 6 p.m., we're here giving you that checkup from the neck up, making a difference in your life. Have a good night.
She was told that she couldn't play with the boys. She was told that they were too big, too rough, too strong. She was told to give up her dreams and move on. She was told to just be pretty, be quiet, be a lady. She was told that women had to stay on their side of the court, stay in your lane. Playing and competing with men wasn't the same. She was told that men and women would never be equal. Dreaming like that would only be linked to your mind, to your soul. She never listened. She knew that their thinking was old. She is magic. She is the definition of spirit. She is what champions are made of. She is magic.